She jumps in, comes back up, and saves me. We filmed that for 3 days. She's the only woman I've ever worked with who could argue with you while wet. Gene Hackman was a famous and powerful actor in Hollywood. His part in Bonnie and Clyde made him famous, and The French Connection won him his first Academy Award. But after Hackman retired at age 77, he made a shocking admission that proved long-held theories. You two are bringing up something from your past, a great deal more than we thought at the time, but after he told the truth, something even stranger and more suspicious about him and his wife came to light. What did Hackman say, and then what shocking finding did he make? Watch this movie with us to learn about what Gene Hackman said. Gene Hackman finally says what we all think he knows at age 77, when he thought about his life and work. Hackman finally said what a lot of people had been thinking the whole time. He really was as tough and serious as he seemed. It was a way to stay alive. He was never the type of main man most people think of, and Gene Hackman's road to fame in Hollywood wasn't easy. His work was shaped by hard times, setbacks, and a strong desire to show people they were wrong. Early in life, when his father hurt him deeply by betraying him, that fire began to burn. Hackman's father left the family when Eugene was only 13 years old after years of being mean to them. Hackman later talked about how deeply hurt and disappointed he was when he saw his dad wave at him from the car and then drive off forever. He felt that pain all the time. He could have let it break him, but he used it to improve his acting. Hackman was a wild and rebellious kid. Seeing movies with his mom was the only thing that made him happy. Life was hard besides that. He got in trouble with the law a lot, and was even arrested for taking soda and candy. He did something very bad because he was so angry. He joined the Marines when he was 16, but the experience was a disaster instead of giving order. The people in charge didn't like Hackman's short temper and stubborn behavior. In the early 1950s, he was in a major motorcycle accident that broke his leg and got him kicked out of the military early. Things got even worse. Hackman was out of the Marines and didn't know what to do next when he was 22. After that, he chose something that would alter his course. He chose to become an actress, but it was hard to become famous. In New York, he had to take on low-paying, unpleasant jobs to make ends meet. Another bad job was shining leather chairs in the Chrysler Building at night. In 1955, when he was working as a hotel doorman in Times Square, he had another moment that made him feel small. As Hackman walked by, one of his old Marine instructors said under his breath, "You're a sorry son of a." It was just loud enough for him to hear. The attack didn't break him. Instead, it made him stronger. He was going to show everyone they were wrong. Hackman had a lot of success because of that fire, but he never got over his problems, even when he was at the top of his game. In Unforgiven, he appeared with Richard Harris, who he had worked with in Hawaii in 1966, many years before. Hackman could remember Harris, but Harris couldn't. That little thing was enough to make him mad. Later, in a tense scene where his character beats Harris badly, Hackman used his old anger to fuel his performance. Hackman wasn't sure if he wanted to play Royal Tenenbaum in The Royal Tenenbaums when he was asked to. He told an honest interviewer that part of his reluctance was that he saw too much of himself in the character, a distant father who doesn't care about his kids. He was just as cold with his ex-wife Faye Maltese and their kids, and he didn't want them to see that pain again on TV. But director Wes Anderson thought that money was also a big reason. The movie had a lot of big names in it, so everyone had to take lower pay, which Hackman didn't like. Hackman was angry on the set even after agreeing to play the part. He had a grudge from the moment he walked in, yelling at and putting down Anderson all the time in front of the cast and crew. In later years, Angelica Houston said that Hackman had yelled at Anderson and told him to pull up your pants and act like a man. It got so tense that another character had to step in. Hackman also got into a fight with Houston. In a certain scene, she had to hit him. She later said she might have had too much fun with it. She remembered, "I hit him a really good one. Seeing my handprint on his cheek made me think, he's gonna kill me." The Royal Tenenbaums became one of Hackman's most famous roles, even though it started out as a mess. At the time, not many people knew that it would also be one of his last. Hackman was still very angry even when he was in his 70s. He was making the Royal Tenenbaums in December 2001 when he was in a small car accident in West Hollywood. In typical Trojan Hackman style, a small accident turned into a fight. Hackman chose to settle things in person instead of swapping insurance information. "I popped him when he touched me." In the end, Hackman admitted that the two guys were soon wrestling on the ground until the police broke it up. What did he learn most? A few good shots were taken by me. Gene Hackman said something surprising after he quit, but now we know an even scarier truth. Could this be even more strange than what he said before? Check back to find out. Gene Hackman and his wife were found dead in a strange way. Gene Hackman, his wife, and one of their dogs were found dead at their home in Santa Fe, New Mexico, by a maintenance worker. Hackman had won an Oscar for his acting. The bodies were found on Wednesday, according to the police. A person who does regular maintenance on homes saw that the front door was open when they got there. He saw a woman lying on the floor inside. Right away, he called 911 but told the operator that he couldn't go into the house to see if anyone was moving. The person in charge of the neighborhood said during the call, "I have no idea. I'm not in the house. It's closed. It's locked. I am not allowed to enter. From the window, I can see that she's lying on the floor." Later, the worker and a co-worker told the police that they didn't see the Holmes very often and hadn't talked to them in about 2 weeks. He was 95 years old and lying in a doorway. His 65-year-old wife, Betsy Arakawa, was on her right side in the bathroom. A space heater was found next to her head. A search warrant document says it may have fallen over when she fell. At the scene, a deputy saw that Hackman looked like he had fallen and that a cane was close by. A dead German dog was also found in a bathroom closet close to Arakawa by the police. Officer Adon Mendoza of Santa Fe County said the dog was in a kennel at a press meeting on Thursday that had nothing to do with the case. One dog was found inside the house and the other was found outside. A spokeswoman for the sheriff's office, Denise Avila, said that there were no obvious signs of gunshot wounds or other injuries that would point to foul play. However, detectives from the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office wrote in an affidavit for a search warrant that the situation seemed odd enough to warrant a full probe. The New Mexico Gas Company checked the gas lines inside and outside the house after the deaths were found. The search warrant said that there were no pressing problems. The fire department also looked for carbon monoxide, but didn't find any signs of poisoning or leaks. An officer said that there weren't any clear signs of a gas leak, but that being exposed to gas or carbon monoxide doesn't always show up as clear symptoms. Sheriff Mendoza said there were no signs of a fight. There were no signs that anything had been broken or stolen from the house, which would mean that a crime had happened. Based on the search order affidavit, it looks like gas poisoning is being thought of as a possible cause of death, but nothing has been ruled out yet. Lori Levinson, a law professor at Loyola Marymount University who has nothing to do with the case, said that the police do not yet have clear evidence of murder, but are looking for possible evidence, such as weapons or blunt items. She also said that it doesn't look like someone planned to kill themselves. A professor at William & Mary Law School named Jeffrey Bellin said that the request for a search order was a bit unusual because investigators usually only do that when they think a specific crime has happened. There was no clear talk of a crime, which makes the situation even stranger. What have the officials said about Gene Hackman and his wife's strange deaths? What information have they found? Keep listening to find out. The deaths of Gene Hackman and his wife are being looked into by the police. The couple and their dog were found dead at their home in Santa Fe County, New Mexico on Wednesday. The cause of death is still being looked into. It is still being called strange right now. In a search order affidavit, it is said that Arakawa's body was partly mummified. More information is always being released. A number of dogs were also found living by investigators. More information will likely be released in the coming weeks. A deputy said that Arakawa's body had begun to break down, her hands and feet were hard like preserved meat, and her face was swollen. Officer Roy Arnn of the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office wrote in the search warrant document that the couple was found in different rooms of their large Santa Fe home. He moved there to get away from the noise of Hollywood. It's also becoming clearer when they died. It looks like they had been dead for a few days based on their bodies and other clues. It could be as long as 2 weeks. Adam Mendoza, the sheriff of Santa Fe County, said on the Today Show on Friday that it's hard to figure out the exact date. Mendoza said that because Hackman and Arakawa were private people in a private family, there was no evidence that anyone had been going around the house or doing anything strange. This made it hard to tell if the two people died at the same time or separately. There may not be any foul play, but he is pretty sure of it. However, the cops are not ruling that out either. A new report that came out on Friday showed what the cops found when they searched Hackman's house. Investigators found a number of medicines and medical papers. Some of them were Tylenol, diltiazem, used to treat high blood pressure and chest pain, and medicine for the thyroid. The 95-year-old star was found in a mudroom next to his cane. He looked like he had fallen. It says that his 64-year-old wife, Arakawa, was found in an open bathroom next to a space heater. Someone opened a prescription bottle and put pills all over the counter next to it. What the paper says is that Mendoza told Today that the pills were very important evidence at the scene, but chemical tests could take 3 months or longer to come back. Investigators said the scene was strange enough that they needed to search it more deeply and look into it further. The front door was open and unlocked. There was a healthy dog running free outside, and another healthy dog was found near Arakawa, along with a dead dog and a heater that had been moved. Next to Arakawa, police also saw a pill bottle that was open and prescription pills that were all over the place. Hackman was not in the same room as his wife, and there were no obvious signs of a gas leak. TMZ and Storyful got a tape of a 911 call that showed an unknown caller working with police to get police to Hackman and Arakawa's house. Callers said they were the person in charge of the couple's neighborhood, but they couldn't give cops their ages or gender.